Hello everyone, this is Abhishek Mohanty and you are watching Padarth Vigyan. So students, welcome to lecture number 2 of the chapter Vectors. In the previous lecture, we had discussed about what is the meaning of vector, the difference between scalars and vectors, how to represent a vector quantity using a diagram, and we had discussed about different types of vectors like the position vector, the displacement vector, the polar vector and the axial vector. Today, in this lecture, we'll discuss about some important definitions used in the vector algebra. So, let's get started. So, the first definition is equal vectors. The first definition is equal vectors. So, what is the meaning of equal vectors? Remember that two vectors are said to be equal, are said to be equal vectors if they have equal magnitude and same direction. We know that a vector quantity is specified by its magnitude as well as its direction. So when we say that the two vectors are equal, it means the two vectors must have the same magnitude and they must be directed along the same direction. Suppose we have two vectors A and B. If I say that A vector is equal to B vector, it means the magnitude of A is equal to the magnitude of B and both have the same direction. So students, in the last class I had told you that when we represent a vector using a diagram, we draw a straight line and we give an arrow mark. The length of that line represents the magnitude of the vector and the arrow mark represents the direction. Since these two vectors A and B have the same magnitude, so the length of the line which represent these two vectors must be equal. So if I draw two equal vectors, I can draw like this. Suppose this is vector A and this is vector B. Now you can see that this one is vector A and this one is vector B. You can see that the two vectors, the length of the two lines are equal. It means magnitude of A is equal to magnitude of B. And you can see that these two lines are parallel to each other and we have given the arrow mark in the same direction. It means A vector and B vector have the same magnitude and they have the same direction. So A vector is equal to B vector. Now tell me, what is the angle between the two equal vectors? The answer is the angle between two equal vectors will be 0 degree because these two vectors are parallel to each other. So remember that the angle between two equal vectors is 0 degree. Is that clear? So this is the meaning of equal vectors. Now we will talk about negative of a vector. So what is the meaning of negative of a vector? Suppose we have a vector A. Then negative of vector A will be minus A. If A is a vector, then negative of that vector will be minus A. And suppose B vector is equal to minus of A. It means B is the negative of A. Now the question is, what is the meaning of or how can we define the negative of a vector? So let me write the definition here. The negative of a vector is defined as another vector having the same magnitude but opposite direction. For example, suppose I'll draw vector A. This one is vector A. This is vector A. Now I'll draw another vector which will be negative of A. So remember that the negative of a vector is also a vector, and the magnitude of that vector is same as the given vector. Means if B vector is equal to minus of A vector, if B vector equal to minus of A vector, it means the magnitude of B vector will be same as the magnitude of A vector, but the direction of B vector will be opposite to the direction of A vector. Since B vector and A vector have the same magnitude, if I represent both the vectors, then the length of the two lines must be same. But the directions of these two vectors are opposite to each other. It means the arrowhead should be opposite to each other. So if I give arrow mark in this direction, then you can see that the second vector, this one, the second vector is oppositely directed to the first vector. So this one will be minus of A vector, or this is equal to B vector, which is negative of A vector. But you can see that the length of the two lines are same, means A vector and B vector have the same magnitude, but they have opposite direction. Now tell me, what will be the angle between A vector and its negative vector? Or what is the angle between A vector and B vector? The answer is, the angle between a vector and its negative vector will be 180 degree. So let me write here, the angle between a vector and its negative vector is 180 degree. But the angle between two equal vectors is 0 degree. Is that clear? Now we'll go to the third definition. The third definition is collinear vectors. So now we'll discuss about what is the meaning of collinear vectors. So students, remember that the vectors which act along the same line, the vectors which act along the same line, or along parallel lines, same line or along parallel lines, are known as, or are called collinear vectors. Again I am repeating, the vectors which act along the same line or along parallel lines are called collinear vectors. And this collinear vector is of two types. The collinear vectors can be classified into two categories. The first one is parallel vectors, and the second one is anti-parallel vectors. Anti-parallel vectors. So remember that if a number of vectors are acting along the same line of action or along parallel lines, then they are called collinear vectors. So these collinear vectors can again be classified into two categories. The first one is parallel vectors, the second one is anti-parallel vectors. So parallel vectors means a number of vectors having the same direction. You can see that I have drawn 4 vectors here, and all these vectors, they are parallel to each other, means the angle between them is 0 degree, or they have the same direction. I have drawn 4 vectors. Suppose this is vector A, this is vector B, this one is vector C, and this one is vector D. All these 4 vectors, they are parallel to each other, means they have the same direction. But look at the length of the 4 vectors. The lengths are different, means the 4 vectors, they have different magnitudes. The magnitude of A, magnitude of B, magnitude of C, magnitude of D, all are different. But all the vectors have the same direction. So remember that when we are defining parallel vectors, we should ignore their magnitudes. We should focus on their directions. If all the vectors have the same direction, then they are said to be parallel vectors. They may have same magnitude, they may not have same magnitude. It doesn't matter. Two vectors can be parallel if they have same direction, irrespective of their magnitude. So what is the meaning of anti-parallel vectors? If two vectors have opposite directions, then they are said to be anti-parallel vectors. Suppose this is vector E and this one is vector F. You can see that the two vectors E and F are oppositely directed to each other. It means the angle between them is 180 degree. In the first case, in case of parallel vectors, the angle between the two vectors is 0 degree, but here the angle between these two vectors is 180 degree. And again, when we are defining the anti-parallel vectors, we must ignore the magnitudes of the vectors. If two vectors have opposite direction, then they will be called as anti-parallel vectors, irrespective of their magnitude. Their magnitudes may be same, may not be same. So just look at the first case. In the first case, we are talking about equal vectors. So two vectors, if they are equal, they have same magnitude and same direction. Means we need two conditions to be satisfied so that the two vectors become equal vectors. The first one is they should have same magnitude. The second one is they should have same direction. But look at the third case. When we are talking about parallel vectors, two vectors can become parallel if they satisfy only one condition. That is, they must be directed along the same direction. They should have the same direction. Similarly, if we compare anti-parallel vectors with negative of a vector, you can see that a vector is said to be negative of another vector if they have same magnitude but opposite direction. So two conditions must be satisfied. B vector should have the same magnitude as A vector, and B vector should have opposite direction as A vector. So if these two conditions are satisfied, then B vector is said to be negative of A vector. But two vectors can be antiparallel only satisfying a single condition, that is, if they have opposite directions. If they have opposite directions. So now I'll ask you a question, or I will write a statement. You have to tell me which statement is correct and which statement is false. The first statement, statement 1, the first statement is all equal vectors are parallel. All equal vectors are parallel. Statement 2 is all parallel vectors are equal. All parallel vectors are equal. Now tell me which statement is correct and which statement is false. The answer will be statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is false. Why? Because all the equal vectors, they have same direction, so they must be parallel to each other. But all the equal vectors, they cannot be, all the parallel vectors cannot be equal, because when we are talking about parallel vectors, we have only one condition, that is they must have same direction. They may have same magnitude, they may not have same magnitude. But for equal vectors, we need two conditions: same magnitude, same direction. That's why all equal vectors are parallel, because they have same direction. But all parallel vectors, they may not be equal, because they may not have the same magnitude. That's why statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is false. So students, I hope that you have understood what is the meaning of parallel vector and anti-parallel vector. Now we'll discuss about another definition, that is coplanar vectors. Coplanar vectors. Coplanar vectors. So what is the meaning of coplanar vectors? Coplanar means common plane. Vectors having common plane. A number of vectors lying on the same plane, are said to be coplanar vectors. Are said to be coplanar vectors. For example, I'll consider a xy plane. Suppose this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the xy plane. Your computer screen or your mobile screen is also a plane. If I will draw a number of vectors, on this plane, then you can see that all the vectors are lying on the same plane. So all these vectors, they have a common plane, and that's why they are known as coplanar vectors. Is that clear? Now we will talk about another type of vector or another definition, which is co-initial vector. Co-initial vector. Co-initial vector. So from the name, you can guess what is the meaning of, or what should be the definition of co-initial vectors. Co-initial means a common initial point. The vectors having the same or common initial point are called co-initial vectors. The vectors which have the same initial point or same starting point, same initial point, are known as coplanar vectors. Co-initial vectors are known as co-initial vectors. co-initial vectors. Means if a number of vectors start from the same point. Let me draw the diagram here. Suppose this is the point O, and from this point O a number of vectors originate. A number of vectors start from a common point or from the same point. This is vector A, vector B, C, D, E and F. So you can see that 6 number of vectors A, B, C, D, E, F, they start from the same point O. That's why they are known as co-initial vectors. Now we'll talk about the next definition, which is coterminous. Coterminous vectors. Coterminous vectors. So what is the meaning of coterminous vectors? The vectors which have the same terminal point, same terminal point are known as coterminous vectors. Terminal point means the finishing point or the end point. So co-initial vectors means all the vectors start from the same point, and coterminous vector means a number of vectors they end at the same point. For example, let me draw a diagram here. Look at this diagram here. You can see that a number of vectors they are terminating at the same point O. So these are known as the coterminous vectors. Is that clear? Now we will talk about modulus of a vector. Modulus of a vector. What is the meaning of modulus of a vector? Suppose A is a vector. Then how to write the modulus of vector A? The modulus of vector A can be written as like this: a vector, and draw two parallel lines like this. So this symbol represents the modulus of vector A. And what is the meaning of modulus of a vector? It means, or it represents, the magnitude of the vector or the length of the vector. This represents what? It represents the magnitude of a vector. Magnitude of a vector. For example, suppose a force is acting on a body and the force is given by 10 Newton along north direction. Suppose a force of 10 Newton is acting on a body along the north direction. Then what will be the magnitude of F? The magnitude of F, or the modulus of F, is equal to 10 Newton. Only write the magnitude. Modulus means the magnitude. Don't write the direction. Ignore the direction. Write only the positive value. F equal to 10 Newton. The magnitude of the force. Is that clear? Now the next definition is unit vector. Unit vector. So what is the meaning of unit vector? So students, remember that every vector has some magnitude and some direction. So if A is a vector, then it has magnitude and it has some direction. It has magnitude as well as direction. And the magnitude of A is represented by this symbol known as the modulus of A. The magnitude of A vector is represented by the symbol modulus of A. Now we must have some symbol to represent the direction of vector A, and the direction of a vector is represented by this unit vector. The direction of a vector is represented by a unit vector. And what is the symbol of unit vector of vector A? It is written as A and a symbol like this. You can read this as A cap. A cap. So A cap is the unit vector, and this unit vector represents what? It represents the direction of vector A. So if I multiply this magnitude with the unit vector, I will get the resultant vector A. Means A vector is equal to modulus of A into A cap. Or I can write A cap is equal to A vector divided by A vector modulus. A cap is equal to A vector by A vector modulus. This is known as unit vector. So what is the definition of unit vector? So you can define unit vector like this. Unit vector of a vector. Unit vector of a vector is a vector. Means unit vector is also a vector having unit magnitude. Having unit magnitude means the magnitude of unit vector is 1. So unit vector of a vector is a vector having unit magnitude and directed along the given vector. Directed along the given vector. It means suppose we are finding the unit vector of A. So A cap, it means this is the unit vector of A. A cap is the unit vector of A. And why is its name given as unit vector? Unit means 1. So A cap or the unit vector of A has magnitude 1. Remember that every unit vector has magnitude 1. It means if I write A cap modulus or A cap magnitude, this is equal to 1. And the direction of A cap is same as the direction of A vector. If A vector is directed along east, then A cap is also directed along east. If A vector is directed along west, then A cap is also directed along west. Means A cap represents the direction of A vector and its magnitude is 1. Because since A vector is written as A vector modulus into A cap, and this A vector modulus, it contains all the magnitude. It contains all the magnitude of vector A. So if we multiply 1 with the modulus of A vector, then we'll get the magnitude. But if we choose that the magnitude of A cap is 2 or 3, then definitely the answer will be wrong. Because if we are talking about a force having 10 Newton magnitude and it acts along the north direction, then 10 Newton is the magnitude. So if F is equal to 10 Newton along north, then F magnitude is equal to 10 Newton. And suppose I'll write that N cap means the unit vector along north. N cap is the unit vector along north. So I can write F vector like this: 10 Newton into N cap. 10 Newton into n cap. So this n cap must have a magnitude 1, so that 10 into 1 will be 10. If you put the magnitude of n cap as 2 or 3 or any other value, then the magnitude of force will not be equal to 10, that will be different from 10. So if you multiply 1 with 10, then you will get the magnitude of force as 10 Newton. So that's why remember that unit vector has magnitude 1, and the unit vector represents or it contains the direction of the given vector. Suppose we have a three-dimensional coordinate axis, three-dimensional coordinate axis means this is the x-axis, then this one is the y-axis, and this one is the z-axis. This is z-axis and this one is x-axis and this one is the y-axis. So a vector can have direction along x-axis or along y-axis or along z-axis. So we have defined unit vectors along each axis. The unit vector along x-axis is given by I cap. The unit vector along y-axis is given by j cap, and the unit vector along z-axis is given by k cap. So remember that I cap means unit vector along x-axis, and what is j cap? J cap means unit vector along y-axis. And what is k cap? K cap means unit vector along z-axis. And we have positive x-axis, negative x-axis, positive y-axis, negative y-axis, positive z-axis and negative z-axis. Suppose a force of 10 Newton, is acting along the positive x-axis, then how to write the force vector? F vector is equal to 10 Newton into I cap. 10 Newton is the magnitude and I cap is a unit vector which represents the direction along positive x-axis. So remember that I cap denotes the unit vector along positive x-axis. Suppose a force of 25 Newton is acting along negative x-axis, then how can we write F vector? F vector will be equal to, first write the magnitude, that is 25 Newton, and since the force is acting along negative x-axis, we have to write minus I cap. Because I cap is a unit vector along the positive x-axis. So minus I cap will have direction along the negative x-axis. Similarly, suppose a body is displaced. By 5 meter along positive y-axis. A body is displaced 5 meter along positive y-axis. Then the displacement vector S vector can be written as 5 meter into plus j cap, because j cap represents a unit vector along the positive y-axis. Similarly, if the body is displaced by 10 meter along negative x-axis, 10 meter along negative y-axis, suppose negative y-axis, then the displacement will be how much? 10 meter into minus j cap. So unit vector along positive x-axis is plus j cap and unit vector along negative y-axis will be minus j cap. Similarly, unit vector along positive z-axis is k cap and unit vector along negative z-axis is minus k cap. So this is all about unit vector. Now we will talk about another vector known as zero vector. Zero vector. And this zero vector is also known as null vector. Zero vector is also known as null vector. So now the question arises, from where the concept of zero vector come? From where the concept of zero vector come? So remember that when we talk about zero vector, it means the magnitude of the vector is 0. The magnitude of the vector is 0. And if the magnitude is 0, it means when we will represent the zero vector or null vector diagrammatically, we cannot draw a line, because we know that the length of the line represents the magnitude of the vector. If the magnitude is 0, then the length will also be 0. That's why a zero vector is represented by a point, because we know that a point has no length, no breadth and no height. So remember that zero vector is represented by a point or by a dot. And if we write zero vector, you can write like this: 0 and give an arrow mark here. This is zero vector. Suppose a vector is equal to b vector. Suppose a vector is equal to b vector. If I subtract b vector from a vector, then the answer will be zero vector. If a vector is equal to b vector, then a vector minus b vector equal to zero vector. Similarly, suppose assume that mu is a number and mu is equal to minus of lambda. Mu is a scalar quantity, lambda is a scalar quantity, and mu is equal to minus of lambda. Then tell me, if I write mu plus lambda into a vector, then what will be the answer? If mu is equal to minus lambda, then mu plus lambda will be equal to 0. And when I multiply 0 with a vector or with any kind of vector, then the result will also be a zero vector. Is that clear? So like in our number system, we have a 0. Suppose we subtract two equal numbers, then the result is 0. Similarly, if we subtract two equal vectors, the result will be a zero vector. And now we will discuss about the properties of zero vector. We will talk about the properties of a zero vector. So let us discuss about few important properties of zero vector. So students, remember that when we add zero vector to any vector, the answer remains same. Suppose a is a vector and we will add zero vector to a vector, we will get the same a vector. Similarly, if you subtract zero vector from any vector, you will get the same vector. Means a vector plus zero vector is a vector, and a vector minus zero vector is also equal to a vector. Similarly, if lambda is a real number, and you multiply lambda with zero vector, if you multiply lambda with zero vector, then the answer will be a zero vector. Next property is, if you multiply 0 with any vector, if you multiply 0 with any vector, then you will get 0 vector. Is that clear? The next point is, if lambda a vector is equal to mu into b vector, lambda is not equal to 0 and mu is also not equal to 0. These are two non-zero quantities. But if lambda a is equal to mu b, then this condition can be satisfied only if a vector is equal to b vector is equal to 0 vector. If a vector is equal to b vector is equal to 0 vector. Is that clear? Because if lambda is 0 and mu is 0, then definitely 0 into a vector will be 0 vector and 0 into b vector will be 0 vector. But if lambda and mu are not 0, then to satisfy this condition, a vector and b vector must be 0 vector. So these are some of the important points about the 0 vector. And remember that 0 vector is represented by a dot or a point, because 0 vector has no magnitude, and that's why we cannot draw a line, because the length of the line represents the magnitude. Since magnitude is 0, so the length will be 0, and that's why we have to represent it by a dot. Now we'll discuss about the next important topic, that is multiplication of a vector by a real number. Multiplication of a vector by a real number. Multiplication of a vector by a real number. Suppose we have a vector a, we have a vector a. Now if I multiply this vector with a real number lambda, suppose lambda is a real number, and if I multiply vector a with lambda, then I will get lambda into a vector, So this lambda into a vector is also a vector. Lambda into a vector is also a vector. And the magnitude of lambda a vector is lambda times that of a vector. So again I am repeating, a is a vector, lambda is a real number. A is a vector, lambda is a real number. Now if I multiply lambda with a vector, then I will get another vector. And the magnitude of lambda a vector will be lambda times the magnitude of a vector. For example, suppose f vector is equal to 10 Newton into I cap. I cap means the force is acting along the positive x-axis. And suppose lambda is equal to 3. Then lambda into f vector will be how much? 30 Newton into I cap. So you can see that lambda f vector has a magnitude 30 Newton, but f vector has a magnitude of 10 Newton. So 30 Newton is 3 times of 10 Newton. It means the magnitude of lambda f vector is lambda times the magnitude of f vector. And remember that this real number lambda, it can be positive, it can be negative. Lambda can be positive and negative. Since lambda is a real number and the real number can be positive and negative. So if we multiply a positive lambda or if we multiply a positive real number, suppose A is a vector and I multiply lambda with a vector, and suppose lambda is positive, then what will happen? Lambda a vector will have the same direction as a vector. Lambda a vector will have the same direction as a vector. But if lambda is negative, then lambda a vector will be opposite to a vector. If lambda is positive, then lambda a vector will have the same direction as a vector, means they will be parallel. But if lambda is negative, then lambda a vector will have the opposite direction, that of a. For example, suppose assume that F equal to 10 Newton I cap. If I will take lambda equal to plus 3, a positive value, then lambda F vector will be equal to 30 Newton into I cap. So you can see that this lambda F vector is also acting along positive x-axis. So lambda F vector and A vector are parallel to each other. But if I take lambda equal to minus 2, if I take a negative value of lambda, then lambda F vector will be minus 20 Newton into I cap, or I can write this as 20 Newton into minus of I cap, and minus of I cap means the lambda F vector is acting along the negative x-axis. So here lambda F vector is opposite in direction to A vector. So remember that when we are multiplying a real number to a given vector, then if the real number is positive, then after multiplication the resulting vector will be parallel to the initial vector. But if lambda is negative, the real number is negative, then the resulting vector after multiplication will be opposite in direction to the initial or to the given vector. So students, these are the things I wanted to discuss in today's lecture. Hopefully you have understood all the concepts that I have covered in this session. If so, then please hit the like button, and if you are new to my channel, then please subscribe to it and press the bell icon. And if you have any doubt, then you can ask me in the comment section. So we'll meet in the next class with some new topic. Till then, have a nice day and bye bye.